Welcome to the live feed from the Appleton Curling Club. We are now in the third end of the Applespiel final events. You are currently watching sheet 3. That is our first event game going on. They are currently tied, each team scoring 3 points. Yellow scored 3 in the first end, and red scored 3 in the second end. So we have Camp Wanna Try Hitting the House, led by Tom Trillo, against Counselors in Training, led by Dan Bliven. Looks like we are currently sitting 2 yellow. Red missed their shot, barely ticking the yellow, gave them a little better coverage under that guard. Still available for a wide open draw here. We'll see what they're calling. All right, we're still watching sheet 3 here, our first event final. We're unable to update the scoreboard at this time on the computer, But if one of you sitting at home who was complaining about the lack of audio feed wants to pop by and add that in, you go right ahead. Oop. Yes. Well, the curling chat should show up here and do some commentary. Yes, somebody was trying to get to the score and switched the sheets here. Here's the first event final again. So Phil, as long as you're on the curling chat, you tell us which page to get to update the score. Dan throwing from the hack here. Nope. And we are back on the wrong sheet here. One moment. Looks like a takeout being thrown here. They made the shot they were after, just biting the 12-foot. We've got yellow is still as the shot rock there. Looks like they are calling for a hack weight takeout here. Gonna try it down the center line. Not a whole lot of ice being taken for that down the center line shot. Let's see how it works out for them. That worked out nicely for the yellow team. Now sitting 2, little separation. I like the way they're set up. It's a tough double if they were going for the double. If you're going to double that out, you're going to have to hit hard on the inside of that rock and roll over, but it does not look like that's what Tom has called. He's just going for the single. Our thrower was able to make that shot on his own. That does appear to be off the house and not touching. Yellow is still sitting 1. Team Bliven is drawing in. Oh, I think we want to jump over to sheet 2 here for our second event final for a moment. They have a lot of rocks in play in the back of that house. Let's look from above here. I apologize. We're back to sheet 3. There we go. There's our second event final game. Jana's holding the broom there for her dad, Tony. Jana flew into town just for this Applespiel event. Looks like red is currently sitting 1. Tony's going to try to come down and sit on top of that red for shot rock. And let's head on over to our finals in the first event. Sweeping hard here for a takeout. Red is now sitting 1. Team Trillo sitting 1 in the 4th end. We're halfway through the 4th end. Currently on sheet 3, our first event final, we are looking at 4 yellow, 3 red in the end of the 3rd end, and we're halfway through the 4th end. And it appears our second end over here for our second event kept every single stone in play in the house. They're trying to clear that out. Second event finals are now sitting yellow 4, red 2. I'll wait for them to hang the final score of the 3rd end. Looks like yellow was able to score 1. Team Miller up 5-2 at the end of the 3rd end for our second event finals. Meanwhile, the first event looks like they're trying to keep house pretty clean here. Gotta draw weight. They're not happy with how heavy it's coming in here. They really needed to rub on something. And it sticks around in the back of the house. Back 8. On sheet 2, we have Zoromsky calling for a takeout. They're currently down by 3 points, so he's also trying to keep the house pretty clean. Not sure what happened in that last end of their game where they had everything in play. Team Zoromsky made their hit. They're now sitting full white. We're on sheet 3 for our first event. It looks like Michael's final rock for the 4th end is throwing it takeout weight. Trying to hit that center line stone. Made their hit, and it rolls completely out. Michael was able to stick around. Currently sitting 2 red. And all 4 sheets this afternoon. It looks like yellow is the color to have. All of our yellow teams are up by a chunk. And from the viewing gallery, we have a Here, Hold My Beer and Watch This while Becca runs Jello shots out to the sheets. Get you an overhead view here on our first event finals game. Got one rock in play for Team Trillo, and he is sliding down to throw his first shot on Skip's Rocks of the first event. In our second event, Zaromsky is currently sitting 3. Take a look at their house over there for a moment. Oh, actually, he is only sitting 2. He's got the biter on the top 12 and then full 8-foot there in the middle. Bailey is throwing a takeout on sheet 2, second event finals. She got a nice inside hit and roll. Rolled over a little too far to get behind the guard. And let's head back on over to our first event game. The counselors in training, Team 11, sometimes known as the Dans, but it looks like they got rid of one of their Dans for Rusty this weekend. Throwing a nice drawdown 2 in the back of the house there. Looks like a nice hit. Maybe a little too much weight popped out. It would have been nice to just sit there frozen. And we have Trillo throwing a takeout here. He's trying to pop that yellow one out of the 8-foot. Looks like he is jamming into his and lost one of his, but he's still sitting 2. It looks like our third event on sheet 4. We don't have cameras for that sheet. It's currently sitting 5 yellow, 1 red, and they are almost done with their fourth end. Our fourth event finals over on sheet 1. 4 yellow, 1 red, and they are in the end of their fourth end as well. So we'll have updated scores shortly. Trillo's team is trying to get their First guard in place. Overswept that just a fuzz. They are biting the top 12. Now Bliven's going to make his move and try to take that out. Danberg with his first shot at the end. Take out for our lead. Caught the edge of it. It's going to spill both rocks open. Andy's coming in a little heavy. There's nothing the sweepers can do with this. Team Trillo back in the house with their lead rock. Bliven's just going to come out, throw for a takeout at this. Berg with his takeout. Looks like he's staying on the correct side of the line here. Might be over curling just a bit here. We've just got one sweeper trying to help the directional sweep. Caught about a third of that rock and it worked out for them. Team Trillo now calling for a takeout. Looks like they have Jordan Johnson playing second. Sweeping hard for line. Bliven now calling for a takeout. Looks like they have Rusty playing second today. We're playing out of order here. Danberg wasn't listed as their second, but he's throwing lead rocks today. Current score on our first event finals is red sitting 5, yellow sitting 4. We have Team Trillo throwing red, Team Bliven throwing yellow. Trillo up 1. In our fourth event game today, red is sitting 3 rocks right now, which would tie it up. And their skip threw his last rock, which might appear to be short. We're doing a count. Red definitely has 2, but they might have 3 to tie it up. Red rocks on our fourth event final belong to Team Tim, the Evening Woods. Yellow rocks on sheet 1 for fourth event belong to Welcome to Moe's, led by Skip Matt Mashinsky. And it looks like they are going to measure to determine if it is 1 more red versus 1 more yellow. Again, red definitely scored 2 at the end of the fourth. First event finals continues to try to keep the house clean. Team Trillos is currently sitting 2 rocks in the 5th end. Team Bliven is sweeping hard right out of Dan Fox's hand here today. Those sweepers help hold the line. Still measuring on sheet 1. Looks like red, Team Tim, did score 3, tied up in the 4th at 4-4. We have Team Schomer on sheet 4 in our 3rd event finals. He's currently in the lead. We'll await them to hang their 4th end score. And the 3rd event that Schomer is playing against is Camp Kelpinski. Team Trillo missing a takeout. Our 4th event finalists have decided to stack the brooms after 4 ends. Have a little camaraderie during the game. They are tied right now, 4-4. Oh, Bliven's holding that tight to the line. Using all of his sweepers. That'll work out okay. Michael's going to be quick to put the broom down for the double. So he's calling Trillo to throw a double takeout here. Team Miller throwing a takeout weight. Oh, it's coming down quickly. Not sure that was meant to be takeout weight, but slowing down. Might stay right at the back 4, back 8. Looks like it stayed around in the back 4. Our 3rd event finals over on sheet 4 have posted the score for the fourth end. We're sitting 2 red. Red on the third event is being thrown by Kalpinski versus 5 yellow, thrown by Team Schomer. Team Bliven throwing their last rock of the fifth end. And once again, using all of his sweepers. Gonna get the house. Not sure if they're gonna get it in for count. Let's take a look from overhead. Yeah, it's gonna be a little too light to get in for count. Looks like one more point for Team Bliven this end, which will make it a tie game in the end of the fifth, 5-5. In our second event finals, the Rumpskis are throwing another takeout. Missed their takeout. Team Miller is still sitting 1 yellow here. First event finals are now starting their sixth end. If you're watching our game over on sheet 2, that's Romsky-Mueller teams. Mueller's still in the lead at this point. Jana's rock over curled a little bit. Sweeper swept hard. Looks like they've got her on the house, though. Let's switch over to their game and take a look from above. Yeah, it looks like Miller's sitting 2 on sheet 2. Now let's jump back over by our first event game. Zaromsky is also calling for a takeout here on sheet 2, second event game. Bliven's team there, a little heavy. Berg's in the back of the house with his second rock. Again, you can only see the video feeds from the first event on sheet 3, second event on sheet 2. I will work to keep you posted on our third and fourth event finals, as there are no cameras on those sheets. Kalpinski team in the third event is sweeping hard. Ended up with a nice guard. I don't think that's what they were going for. I think they were trying to draw down to the tee. Team Schomer's got at least 1, possibly 2 sitting just past the tee line. Fourth event, Team Tim is sweeping hard. Got Brian and Connie sweeping the rock for Megan to get by the guard, and they just barely clipped the guard. It was definitely a tight takeout. But it's opened up, and both red rocks stick around on the 12-foot. We've got Trillo on sheet 3, calling for a draw. Looks like Team Trillo's coming in a little hotter than they wanted. The sweepers are doing anything here. Livin's going to jump on it and try to sweep it by. They did use that yellow rock on the back 8 for backing. So we've got some tie games here in the 4th and 5th ends. Keeping it interesting for the spectators here. Connie is throwing a peel weight over here on sheet 1 in the 4th event. We're going for that triple badge. We'll see if she can make it. She got the double, left 1 rock. Sean jumped over the rock just in time to not be taken out by it and be that triple that she was going for. It's possible that they were just trying to set that up to get their triple badge here at the summer camp event. It is the one patch that team is missing. It's like Trillo's throwing a draw here. Tom's telling his sweepers hold off. He doesn't like how quickly it's coming into the house. Michael's in disagreement and sweeping hard. And we've got top 8. Still only sitting 1 red for Team Trillo. That back yellow is definitely out counting. We can get you an overhead shot here. So there's a yellow rock right behind Blivin there in the house. He's asking Dan Fox to draw around the top 8 here. Kind of tucked behind. That entire side of their ice is open. There's 1 yellow guard in the zone 1, just to the right of the center line. Sweepers are going hard. Sweeping hard, sweeping hard. And it's about a foot too light. Got 4th event, Connie throwing another peel on sheet 1. Looks like 2nd event. Zaromsky just released. He's going for a drawdown 2. Tony has 1 sitting just past the tee line. Stone looks like it might be a little wide from my angle. I'm not directly behind that sheet, so it's hard to see. Oh, he did hit the stone he was after, and both rolled out a little bit. So he had a pretty heavy draw. Again, we're looking at tie games in our 4th event final and in our 1st event finals right now. Team Mueller is ahead of Team Zaromsky in the 2nd event. Currently, Team Schomer is ahead of Team Kelpinski in the 3rd event. H.T.F.H appears to have thrown a downweight takeout weight here. It's slowing down some. They're hoping to tap on their own rock, or otherwise they're not sticking around. They might be able to tap a little here on the back gate. Let's take a look at the second event. We're going to hop over to their house here. Got Jana holding the broom here for her dad. He's throwing takeout weight off the stick today. Sweepers are sweeping hard. Just barely cleared that guard. And a nice shot by Tony. And we'll pop back over to our first event finals. Team Zaromsky getting ready to get in the hack for their final shot of the fifth end. Fourth event, currently Team Tim has 5 rocks in play in the house. No yellow rocks in play. Again, the other team on the fourth event against him is Moshinsky. Team Moshinsky, welcome to Mose. Zaromsky is going for a takeout here, it looks like. He appears to be right on Tony's rock. Worked for him. He's going to lose his shooter probably. Oh, the shooter stuck around. Got a lot of things biting the edge of the house here. Let's pop to their back house and try to catch a look before they clean it up. Looks like they're trying to determine which rocks are out counting, but it is definitely red winning the end. Got Tom Trillo cleaning his first rock of the sixth end. Based on broom placement, he's probably trying to draw to the tee. Michael's calling him early for line. Looks like they need to go hard for line and weight. Made it by the guard. Not quite as deep as he would have liked. Sitting on the top 12. Fourth event finals. It appears they are throwing the last rock of the fifth end. Team Tim with the hammer. Currently sitting 5. Megan cleaning gently on sheet 1. Now both sweepers going hard on sheet 1. And they're off. Oh, and it does look like Team Mashinsky has the hammer here, not Team Tim. So they were just drawing to the center line to try to take away the 4-foot. So waiting for the score update from sheet 2, second event finals. But we do know red won the end. Again, red on our second event is Team Zaromsky. Quite a few rocks in play here in our first event final, but it looks like we are sitting 2 red, which is Team Trillo. And that game is currently at a tie after the 5th end. Sheet 4, our third event finalists, are starting their 6th end. It appears that Kelpinski's scored the 5th end, 1 point. Kelpinski's have scored 1 in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, giving them 3 points. Team Schomer scored 3 in the 1st end and 2 in the 2nd end. Kelpinski's are trying to close that gap. Current score on third event finals, sheet 4, is 5-3. Schomer team ahead by 2. Our first event team is clearing the house after counting the rocks. We'll wait an update on the score. Looks like Zaromsky pulled off, getting 1 point in the 5th end in the second event finals. That game now sits at Team Mueller 5, Team Zaromsky 3. Team Trillo sweeping hard, just trying to get that lead rock over the hog line. Our teams were piped on today by Alex Van Roy. It's a tradition to have a bagpiper pipe the teams on for the final event. Team Zaromsky over on sheet 2 just narrowly missed their shot, leaving Mueller sit with 2 yellow at this time. We're halfway through their 6th event, their 6th end. Fourth event, we've got Brian at lead for Team Tim. He's up to throw a guard. His first rock is sitting on the top 4 foot. Second event, Team Miller swept hard to get by the guard, and they are now sitting 3 within the 4 foot. Shot thrown by Bailey. Beautiful shot here by Kelly. Drew down to the back 4-foot in the second event final here. Zoromsky versus Miller. We'll do a quick overhead on that. I believe Zoromsky is now sitting 1 in the 6th end of their game. Definitely looks like that is shot rock. Miller wants Jana to take it off. Our first event has the first few rocks of their 7th end in play. We'll jump back to them after we see what happens here on sheet 2. Second event. Great hit by Jana. Nice sweep call by Tony. Back to 2 yellow here. She had to throw that hard to get those stones to move. Moshinsky on the 4th event final, sheet 1, is calling for a takeout. We currently have Team Tim sitting 2. Score on that game is Moshinsky 5, Tim 4. Kelly Matter through, just a little too heavy. She's sitting in the back 12. She definitely used the backing on her last shot, so probably a very similar weight. Looks like Team Trillo just barely ticked the top 8 foot from Team Livin. Let's get an overhead here. Got some separation there at the top of the house. Team Mueller on sheet 2, sweeping hard once again. We're experiencing a weird rumble here at the curling club. It shook the entire building. Team Moshinsky sweeping hard to try to get by the guard. They hit the guard, and they're going to roll to the outside 8. Still sitting 2 red for Team Tim in the 6th end. Our finals game over here on sheet 3 for our first event finalists. Well underway into the 7th end. Let's take an overhead look. Looks like Team Livin is currently sitting 1. From the viewing gallery, we were unable to identify the rumble that was shaking the building. partial shot made by Team Moshinsky on the first event. I'm sorry, on our first sheet, fourth event. Still sitting 2 red, Team Tim. Appears to be calling Connie to throw a guard. A Dan Fox in the hack again for sheet 3, event 1 finals. Our third event playing a little bit slow here today. They are still in the 6th end with a couple of rocks to go. Let's go to an overhead. It looks like Team Mueller is probably sitting 3. They're definitely sitting 2. And that is our second event game going on sheet 2. Hard to tell from overhead, but it does appear that they're sitting 3 for Team Mueller on sheet 2, second event in the 2026 Applespiel. Get the next overhead view here for our first event. Pop that up there. Looks like we've got Bliven's team sitting 1 at the moment. Looks like Chad Wade is throwing a nice draw from Team Moshinsky and is now sitting 1 for his team. Team Zaromsky was sweeping hard. They came up short, still with Team Mueller sitting 2 on our sheet 2 cameras for the second event final. Looks like Tony would like to use his rock that was the third count to tick and roll into the center. Got Team Bliven lining up shots down at the other end. Overhead, they're checking angles here. Not really sure what he's looking at. It's a simple game. You just put your broom down. You're either going to hit or you're going to draw. If he hits the top yellow hard enough, he should be able to spill both of the red sitting top 8 without any jams. I think he's getting in his own head down there, overthinking it. Looks like Team Trillo scored 3 points in the 6th end, so they had a tie game going, and Team Trillo was up 3 now. I would personally play the more aggressive shot here. Now they're really overthinking it, trying to use that zone 2 guard. Should be able to throw hard enough to get around that guard on the right side and nose hit that yellow, but well, let's see what they decided here. There are several people in the viewing area that do not understand this method of curling. More than one person has said, "What are they doing?" He, like I said, he had plenty of room to get around that. So not really sure why he did that. He is definitely not happy with that. The broom smacked to the ice. Let's take a look from overhead and see what the house looks like. Oh, looks like definitely red sitting 3 for Trillo, potentially a 4. Hard to tell with this camera angle. Now, personally, if I am Tom, I would just be shooting for a top 8 foot, block up the 4 foot. Let's see what he decides to throw here. Looks like our second event finals game on sheet 2. Mueller pulled out a score of 2 more, so we've got Mueller 7, Zaromsky 3. And they have started their 7th end. Schomer versus Kelpinski has also started their 7th end. Kelpinski pulled out another 1, so they're just oneing him to death. They're up to 4 points now with control over the last 4 ends of the game. Current score, Schomer 5, Kelpinski 4. That is for our 3rd event. Livin definitely in his own head right now, overthinking things, taking a long time to call his shots this end. Looks like he's looking at a hit down here. If you're going to go for this, I would want to hit the inside to roll behind all of the guards at the top of the house. Team Mueller sweeping hard all the way down for Bailey's Rock here. Narrowly passes the guard. Just a little more narrow than she was hoping. Got by the guard, but did not curl around the shot rock. Livin throwing another takeout here. Hits and he rolls to the middle. Worked out. That is exactly what he called. He's sitting top 4. Scoring 1 with the hammer. We now have Team Trillo sitting at 8. Team Livin at 6. Team Trillo coming home with the hammer, up 2. Our first event finals is now underway in the 8th and final end. Sheet 2, Bailey is throwing, appears to be takeout weight. Now sweeping for line, her husband Alex and Jana. Oh, again, just a fuzz narrow. Removing their own rock from play. Leaving Zaromsky sitting 1 at this point in time. Actually, let's do an overhead of that just because it is very close. Yes, Team Zaromsky is still sitting 1 after that. Fun fact from our Sheet 2 second event finals game, lead on Team Miller, Alex Stein, learned how to knit from his grandmother. We should also note that Team Miller won the costume event at this year's costume contest for the Applespiel. Reminder that the theme is summer camp. 3 of them came as mosquitoes, moths, and flies, while Tony cut a face hole in a 5-gallon pail and came as a can of off, complete with a water bottle mister. Lead rocks have been completed on sheet 3 for our first event. Currently, Team Bliven sitting 1. Team Trillo has 1 at Red Rock at the back 8. Trillo called for a takeout here. Nice inside hit, narrowly avoiding the jam. Michael swept their own rock out because it was so far outside of the guard that they didn't want to give it up for any backing. Didn't want to give the other team something to work with when you're up 2 coming home with the hammer. So we have our second, third, and fourth event finals still working through the rocks in their 7th end, while our first event, keeping it on track, is in the 8th end. So we should have the final score for our first event shortly. They've thrown quite a few takeouts, kept the game moving quickly. This time, Team Trillo gets a jam, but Tom was able to sweep it out. Now sitting 1, rock. As a reminder, red is Team Trillo, yellow is Team Bliven. It's like sheet 2 for our second event. Tony's throwing pretty heavy weight there. I'm not sure if he's trying to get down to the back 8, down to Zaromski's rock. Here's what's going on. That's definitely what he was trying to do. Get down to Zaromski's rock in the back of the house there. Trillo calling for another takeout. Let's take a look quick from overhead as this comes in. You've got a potential of losing your own stone here. Oh, just missed everything. Probably best case scenario there that Tom's team missed that takeout. Is pretty close to taking their own rock out. Sweeping hard here for Team Bliven, trying to advance their own rock. They hit where they wanted to, just not enough weight to push back into the Team Trillo rock that's sitting just ahead of the tee line. Get you a nice overhead view here. Let's see what's going on. Tom's looking at putting up a guard. Yeah, he was debating about doing a double takeout, but he's opted for a centerline guard here. So currently our fourth event running on sheet 1. We have Team Moshinsky up by 2 points, 6-4 against Team Tim. Sheet 2 second event finals. We have Team Mueller 7 to Team Zaromsky 3. First event we currently have finishing up in the 7th end. They're actually in their 8th end, but they finished the 7th. We've got Team Trillo at 8, Team Bliven at 6. Trillo's team has the hammer coming home here up 2. On our sheet 4, third event, We have Team Schomer 5, Team Kalpinski 4. Team Kalpinski has dominated the last 4 ends, stealing 1 each time. The crowd watching on sheet 1 for Team Tim noted that Connie threw a peach, and they now appear to be sitting 4 rocks. Again, unfortunately, we do not have an overhead camera to take a look at that, but it does appear that red is sitting 4 rocks. Unable to see the final rock placement on sheet 4. However, they are pushing their rocks back after the 7th end, so I'm assuming that Team Schomer must have scored a pailful. He was up 1 point. So Team Kalpinski must have shook to end the game. Did you know you can end your curling game at any time by conceding to the other team? Oh, we also have rocks being pushed back after the 7th end here on sheet 2, second event finals. I did not get a scene of the last rocks there, so we can only assume that Team Mueller continued to build on their lead. We're down to 2 games on the ice. Sheet 3, our first event finals. Sheet 1, our 4th event finals. So it appears that Miller won the second event with runners-up Zoromsky. Third event, Team Schomer winners. Team Kalpinski runners-up in the third event. Let's catch an overhead here on our first event final. So Trillo is sitting 1. Levin's looking at a long run back here. Fourth event, Tim seems to have thrown a takeout. It's a little wide. I know his last game when they said his last takeout went wide, he blamed his stick Ziski, always out there causing trouble. Currently looks like the 4th event, we have Moshinsky sitting 1. We have a couple more rocks to go in that 7th end. And if you've noticed, down here at the Appleton Curling Club, it is the hottest place on ice. As you notice, kilts and shorts out there on our first event finals game. Looks like Bliven has gone with his first option of the long run back. Moshinsky trying to throw a heavy draw to the button to pop out Team Tim to definitely sit for shot. Looks a little bit light. Just barely nicked the rock he was going for. Again, without the overhead camera, I can't quite tell who's sitting shock rock from here. Does look like Tim is sitting one red at this point. They are actually touching the 4 foot, I have confirmation, whereas both of Moshinsky's rock are just full white. Getting some team photos over here on sheet 2. Faking, it looks like, on sheet 3 to end the match. Here's Team Trillo pulled out the win. They are the winner of the Applespiel 2026 first event. Team Bliven, runner-up. And Tom went down to grab his last rock. Because of rock placement, he does not need to throw that rock. He was sitting up 3 at that point, counting his rock that was in play plus the 2 he was ahead. So because it was impossible for Bliven to score there, Tom chose not to throw his last rock. Bringing you the final moments from the 4th event final. I know you can't see this with cameras. You might catch the edge of the sheet from the sheet 2 cameras. Sean threw too light, and Megan was sweeping early. They're making a quick count of the rocks. And it looks like they will head into their 8th and final end. Wait for score confirmation, but I believe it will be 6 for Moshinsky and 5 for Tim. So we've got, again, sheet 4, 4th event finals. Team Moshinsky leads by 1. So on sheet 4, our 4th event finals, Brian leading for Team Tim, just threw a perfect guard, barely needed his sweepers. We have Ernie throwing lead on Welcome to Mo's team. Starting to over curl, lost the handle. Just might tap Brian's lead rock up, and it did. Team Tim has a rock just touching center line on the right side of the sheet. I would say it's about 10 inches from the rings. It's 2/3 guarded by the lead rock from Team Mushinski. Sean is holding his broom just outside the 8-foot for Brian's second lead rock. Connie is sweeping. He sits on the wall side of the club, just trying to get some directional curl here. And it curled nicely. Just outside the 4-foot line, sitting a close zone 2 guard. Team Mushinski calling for the draw on the right side of the sheet. Looks like he wants it to be a guard distance, so he does not want this in the house. Might be a little heavier than they anticipated. Not using sweepers till the last minute here. Sweeping now for line. Ends up drawing in to the back 4-foot. That was not a guard, folks. Team Mushinski has 1 yellow in the house. Sean is calling for half weight with Megan O'Connell up at second. This back 4-foot rock on Team Mushinski is sticking out just to the left of the guards. We've got Brian sweeping for direction. Again, he curls once a year in Applespiel. Now that rock is curling like crazy. We've got both sweepers on it, sweeping hard. And we're going to catch the guard, trying to spill those guards open. Megan's shot rock stayed up as a guard. Brian's original lead rock is now sitting full 12. So we still have Team Mushinski for shot rock on the back 4. It's about a quarter over the center line, mostly on the left side of the ice. Team Mushinski calling for another draw into the 4-foot. Throwing second for him is John Mushinski. This looks heavy. Nice line, but he's throwing through the house. Sean is now looking at angles, looking at having Megan hit their top 12 rock at an angle for a takeout for the back 4 to get Mushinski's back 4 rock out of play. I'm going to say she has maybe a half to a third of this stone based on where the guards are sitting. Sean's holding his broom just outside of the 8-foot. Changes his mind. He comes about 4 inches in past the 8-foot. Staying close for line. Brian only. Now Connie joins in for line. Brian only. Trying to prevent over curl. Brian only. Brian only. They made it past the guard. Now they have to sweep hard to get their rock into play. Did not get the takeout. However, they advanced their rock to the T line, biting the button on the right side of the sheet. So Team Tim Red has a rock biting the button, centered perfectly over the T line. Team Mushinski has a full back 4-foot. Things are covered up nicely as far as guards in the front of this house. Oshinsky looking to remove the top 12-foot biter that Team Tim has on play. His only other option would be to promote his just to the right of center line guard. It would be a tough angle. During the takeout weight here. No use of the sweepers. I believe they have the rock they want. Let's check. Jams on their own rock. So now we have a biter for Team Tim in the back 12, left side of the house. The rock Megan Advanced is still sitting on the T line, biting the button. Moshinsky clipped his own rock that was back 4. It is now sitting back 8. Sean is calling Connie to put up a guard. Holding the broom about 6 to 8 inches right of the 8-foot. Currently only Megan sweeping for direction. Throw must be a little bit wide. Rock is coming in nicely. Only needing Megan for sweeping. Now both sweepers are on it because she's coming in a little bit deep. She is full 4-foot with that shot. Tucked nicely behind 2 guards. That full 4-foot shot is sitting about 2 inches over the center line. Both rocks for Team Tim are to the right of the center line. Team Moshinsky weighing their options here. There are not a lot of easy choices based on the guard placement. Currently at the top of the house, so not touching the rings, Team Tim has 2 guards to the left of the center line. Team Moshinsky has 2 guards to the right of the center line. As far as depth placement, we've got a deep zone 2 for Team Tim on the left, followed by a mid zone 1 near the center line. Team Oshinsky, their top rock is about halfway between those 2 rocks for depth of Team Tim. It is to the right of the center line. And Moshinsky is coming after his own rock that is sitting near the center line. His other guard is closer to the house, but more outside of the 4-foot. He did hit his, spilled it open. Too much weight to stick around, but it opens it up, forcing Team Tim to put up another guard. Peeling the guard was about the only option Team Moshinsky had there. Other option would have been a difficult angle raise, but it wouldn't have done them any good. They wouldn't have been in scoring position with that angle raise. It would have just slid into the 2 rocks on the 4-foot from Team Tim. Sean brooming just inside of center 12-foot. I don't think they like how quickly this is coming down. Sweepers are not sweeping. It's starting to come down. We're getting near the hog line, about a foot over the hog line here. Flowing down nicely. Ended up with a perfect line of full 2-zone guard. Keeping the viewing area on suspense, Connie takes a bow. Vice and Vice Skipper happy about that placement. Moshinsky could try to draw between those 2 guards. It's a very tight guard zone there. The 4-foot is blocked up too much to come around from the left side of the sheet. Pretty much has to work on the right side. Current score is Moshinsky 6, Team Tim 5. Moshinsky has the hammer. Got another takeout throw here by Team Moshinsky. Playing third for him is Parker Rudy. Flips that guard, which was their own guard, to the inside, spilling that to a zone 3 guard. Sean quick to call for another guard. Currently, guard placement that is affecting the play would be Team Tim sitting a guard in the zone 3. They have one on the left side of the house, about 2 inches to the left of the center line. They have another guard in zone 3 that's about 2 to 2.5 feet to the right of the center line. Actually, it's probably just outside the 4-foot line. I don't have a great angle to give you exact measurements. In the zone 2 section, we have Moshinsky sitting back-to-back guards. So they are perfectly lined up. Then to the left of their back-to-back guards, there's another zone 2 guard by Team Tim. It would be hard to get to the 4-foot on the left side of the ice right now. Waiting for Sean's rock to curl here. This is his first rock in the final end of the 4th event. Looks like a beautiful shot here. Minimal use of the sweepers about halfway down the sheet and no use of the sweepers for the second half. Nearly perfectly replaced the guard that Connie had there. And he takes a bow for the crowd. Team Moshinsky has 3 people in the house talking over their options. I think the best they could do if they're trying to come down the left side of the sheet is you can maybe get full white, so full 8-foot, which doesn't do them any good. So they're just looking at potential raises versus opening things up again. You're looking at whether or not they can get into that center line stone or not. There is a bit of a gap. It looks like he's going to try to throw straight down the center line to get a double here. It is a tight gap to squeeze through. Let's see if he can pull it off. Again, if you're watching the blank ice on sheet 2, you might catch the very edge of sheet 1 here for our 4th event final. Matt going for takeout weight here down the center line. Sweepers are sweeping hard, and they catch that top guard that Sean had in play. Spilled the zone 2 guard from the left side of the sheet off the ice. Took out the guard that Sean had in place. It opens up the edge of the 4-foot now as far as a draw on the left side of the ice. We've got 3 guards now up for Team Moshinsky, sitting at a diagonal from the center line toward the left side of the sheet. Those are all pretty tight guards, nothing you can advance and promote. Team Tim, quick to call for another guard. They are currently sitting 2. Team Tim down 1, last rock of the 8th end. Again, you can see the far house just out of the corner from the sheep tube camera. Megan cleaning Sean's rock, just gently brushing the ice. Both sweepers going hard now that they're getting the line they're looking for. That did not curl as much as they had hoped or as much as the last rock. Leaves the court a lot more open for Moshinsky to come in and hit. Of course, all of the behind the glass skips up here feel like anybody could hit that. It's a much wider port than it was, but it's still not an easy shot. This 4th event may come down to skips rocks. If Matt's able to clear this house, no use of the sweepers at this time. Moshinsky was able to clear one of Tim's rocks. Still sitting 1 for Tim, which makes this a tie game. So we are going down to skip straws for the 4th event final. Because Team Tim scored in the 8th end to tie the game, they will throw first for the skip straw. The teams have elected to not play a 9th end. We are doing warm draws here at the 2026 Applespiel. Megan is on that rock early for sweeping for Team Tim. They are sweeping hard. Are those sweepers going to sweep him through? Sweepers overswept him. He is sitting back 4. Team Moshinsky up next with their skips rock. No sweepers being used at the moment for Team Moshinsky because it's looking a little heavy. It is coming down though. Does appear Team Moshinsky has overthrown Team Tim, winners of the fourth event, Team Moshinsky, runners up of the fourth event. Thank you for tuning in to the 2026 Applespiel.